Alright, we're going to do some graphing. So the amplitude is the number hidden in front of that. It's 1, and this one it's -7. So the amplitude is just going to be the positive value of that. And now it wants me to graph both of them. It wants me to graph y equals 7 and y equals -7x. So the sine value is going to be that symbol. And you click anywhere, and I'm going to graph the -7. So in their little amplitude box, I'm going to type in just 7, and then x reflect. And that'll kick it over. And it also wants me to graph y equals sine x. So I'm just going to click on the graph, and that's it. So I have y equals sine x and y equals -7 sine x. -8 sine 2 pi. The amplitude is going to be 8. The period is 2 pi divided by that number there, 2 pi. So I'm going to do 2 pi divided by 2 pi. You can do it in your calculator if you want. Type it in, 2 pi divided by 2 pi. So I'm going to hit the over-under button. And type in 2 shift pi divided by 2 pi. And we know that's going to be 1. 2 pi always goes on the top. So my period is 1. Now it wants me to graph it. And just that one, -8 sine 2 pi x. So I look at the amplitude, the period, and the x reflect. I'm going to bring the sine and touch the graph. And I'm going to bring my drop down menu up. The amplitude is 8, so I change the amplitude to 8. I'm going to do my x reflect. I'm going to type in my period is not 2 pi, it's just 1, because 2 pi divided by 2 pi is 1. -8 cosine 4/3 x. Well, the amplitude is 8. The period, I'm going to do 2 pi divided by 4/3. So I'm going to do 2 pi divided by 2/3. So I'm just going to back arrow in and delete that and change it to 2 pi divided by 4/3. So 4 divided by 3. And that'll give me the period pretty quickly. So my period is 3 pi over 2. Oops. With that information, I can graph it. So it's cosine. Now the cosine curve is going to be this button. Just click anywhere. My drop-down box comes up. The amplitude is going to be 8. My period is going to be 3 pi over 2. And I have an x reflect because it's negative. The amplitude, there's a hidden 1 in front of it, so I put the amplitude of 1. The period is 2 pi because I'm supposed to put 2 pi over the number in front of the x, and the number in front of the x is 1. The phase shift is going to be the opposite of that over the 1. So that's going to be pi over 1, or negative pi. Negative pi over, just negative pi. And now I can graph. Remember the cosine. Cosine is going to be this picture. Click anywhere. My amplitude is 1. My period is 2 pi. I don't have a vertical shift, but I do have a horizontal shift of negative pi. No x reflect. And that's my drawing. Cosine, this is going to be a vertical shift. They just want me to graph it. So it's a cosine, so I'm going to pick the cosine graph, not the sine graph, the cosine graph. I'm going to click anywhere, bring my menu up, and they just want to know what it is. The vertical shift is -1. Now I'm supposed to figure out what the equation is. Notice it starts down low, not at 0, 0. So I'm going to say it's y equals a negative cosine. The amplitude seems to be 4. See how it goes up to 4 and down to -4, so it's going to be a -4. I'm going to type in cosine, because it doesn't start at 0, 0. Now I have to do 2 pi divided by pi over 2. Because one full cycle goes to pi over 2. So let's see, 2 pi divided by pi over 2. So that's going to be 4x. And notice if I did 2 pi divided by 4, that would give me pi over 2. Tangent. The normal tangent curve looks like choice B or choice C, but because it's a negative, it's either going to be A or D, so I have to see which one goes through a point at 4. So let's make this one larger. So let's see, I go down 2, 4 over 1. I don't know, it's a little off. Let's see about choice D. I go down 2, 4 over 1, and it lands right halfway. I don't know. They're a little tricky. I'm going to say it can't be this graph because if I go a halfway, I go down 2, 4, I'm nowhere in the vicinity of the graph. Let's see choice D. If I go over halfway and I go down 2, that's 3, and then 4 would be right out, and that's 6. So sketchy. Let me try this one again. Let me see. If I go over 1 and I go down 2, it lands. And that's actually 3 and it lands. No, it has to land somewhere around here. So let's see the other one. Back and forth. Over halfway. 3. After much deliberation, I believe I'm going to go with choice A. It's the one that lands a little bit below 3. I'm going to have to go with choice A. Another one. This one's a cotangent. Now cotangent will drop down to the left. So it's either going to be choice C or choice D. I'm going to go immediately with choice C because the 5 and the 5 will elongate it. Over here, the choice D goes to negative pi over 5. It goes through there. So it should be going through 5 at that spot. That's about halfway from the halfway. So straight up, it's going to be choice C. Number 9, a cosecant is related to sine. So it has to start at 0, 0. It's a negative cosecant, so it has to go downward. That one starts at, that's a cosine. It has to be choice D. Let's take a look at why. Because it's cosecant, it's related to sine, it's negative, so it's going to be negative sine. Notice the amplitude is negative 4, so it has to be that choice. Choice D. Secant is related to cosine, but there's a phase shift to the left, 5 pi over 4, so notice it says negative 5 pi over 4. Let's take a look at that. But cosine, and negative 5 pi over 4, but this one starts low, so that would be negative 3 secant, or negative 3 cosine is the red graph. It has to be positive 3, so it can't be that one. It has to start up high, so it's either going to be C or D. Negative 5 pi over 4 is where it starts. It starts up at high, goes down. Let's see. Everything looks good here. Period is 2 pi, so 8 pi over 4. Let's see, 2 pi plus pi over 4 would be 8 pi over 4. So it would do that to there. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 is one full cycle. 5, 6, 7, 8 would be 2 full cycles. I believe it's going to be this choice C, but let's look at choice D once again. Notice it says 3, but choice D only goes down to negative 1/2. The amplitude is off for choice D. So that's an easy pick, choice C.